the potency of thanksgiving. The potency of thanksgiving. I'll be reading from Luke 17, verse 11 to 19. It's a long read. So just follow through and then let's have an amazing time tonight. So I read. As Jesus made his way to Jerusalem, he went along the border between Samaria and Galilee. He was going into a village when he was met by 10 men suffering from a dreaded skin disease. They stood at a distance and shouted, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." Jesus saw them and said to them, "Go and let the priest examine you." On the way, they were made clean. When one of them saw that he was healed, he came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself to the ground at Jesus' feet and thanked him. The man was a Samaritan. Jesus spoke up. "There were 10 who were healed. Where are the other 9? Why is the foreigner the only one who came back to give thanks to God?" And Jesus said to him, "Get up and go. Your faith has made you well." So this is very striking because from the last part of it, we would see that already he came back. All of them were healed. And then when he came back and then in thanks. And then Jesus said, the last part is very striking. He said, "Your faith has made you well." So if you look at it, already he was already well. That's why he came back to give thanks to God for his healing. But when Jesus said, "Oh, where's the remaining 9?" And then he made mention that go and then you'll be made well. So it is very striking because it means that if he didn't come back for Thanksgiving, his miracle wouldn't have been sustained. He was healed. All of them were healed, but his thanksgiving authenticated his miracle. So it means that most times for each and every one of us, if we maybe there are a lot of things that God have done for us, and then because we didn't give thanks to Him, we didn't solidify our that blessing. So thanksgiving solidifies our miracles, our blessings, and the like. So thanksgiving is a very important commodity for us as believers. It is a very important commodity. The blessing is sustained when we thank God. What we thank God for is what is sustained. If we don't thank God for something, it is not sustained, or it wouldn't be sustained. So one way to maintain anything that God has done for us, anything that God has given to us, anything that God is doing with us, is to thank Him. When we thank God, we maintain it. The way to maintain the blessings of God, the miracles, everything that God gives us, everything that we are privileged to access in God, if the way to maintain it is by thanksgiving. So you will see that a lot of people, or a lot of us, have lost the blessings because we didn't give God thanks. A lot of us will lost what God has given to us because we didn't give thanks. We didn't come back to appreciate Him. There was no gratitude at all. So when we thank God, we are open to maintaining and sustaining the blessings of God. So the goodness of God in our life is at risk when we don't give thanks to God. The goodness of God is at risk in our hands or in our lives when we don't give thanks to God. So what you don't thank God for, eventually we'll lose it. If we don't thank God for this thing, we'll definitely lose it. So anything that we don't thank God for, we lose it. So the blessing is temporary until thanksgiving is in place. The blessing of God is temporary until thanksgiving is in place. What we experience is a shadow compared to what we would see or what we'll keep seeing when we give thanks to God. So thanksgiving is what authenticates, what keeps, what solidifies the blessings of God. So we have seen nothing yet. I mean, the guy that returned, the Samaritan that returned back to appreciate God for his healing, he didn't even know that there was more to all of what he had just seen, until when he came back to Jesus, and then Jesus said, "Your faith has made you well." It means that he would enjoy the miracle. He would enjoy all of what God had released to him. So when we give God thanks, we have seen nothing yet until we give thanks. When we give thanks, we see there's an application of more. So of course we would say, and then it is true, that thanksgiving is an application for more. But thanksgiving is not just application for more, but it causes a sustenance of the blessing. It causes a sustenance of the miracle. It causes a sustenance of that which we are thanking God for. So thanksgiving is when we give thanks, we make or we cause our blessings to abound. We cause our blessings to be sustained. and the like. So if it's what would last in our hands is what we will thank God for. When what will last is what will give thanks. It will last if thanksgiving is applied. So anything that we have, anything that God has given to us will last when we give him thanks. So what you've not thanked God for, you will soon lose it. Just like the other 9 guys, they eventually lost their miracle. So what we thank God for would last. What we don't thank God for, we would lose it. So what we can see in a particular, what we can see perpetually in our lives is what we perpetually thank God for. What we see consistently is what we thank God for consistently. So when we are consistent in thanking God for a particular thing, we will definitely keep seeing it, and then of course in diverse dimension or an increased level. When we thank God for one thing, we're sure to see 2 of it is an application for more, and then of course it is sustained when we thank God. So to be thankful is to be set ahead. Thanksgiving is one major secret for enjoying a life of more, of abundance. When we thank God, we see more. When we thank God, we are open to enjoying more, and then of course we are set ahead. So Thanksgiving will take us farther than we can imagine. Thanksgiving will take us to places where we can't even imagine. So Thanksgiving will take us farther where our strengths cannot take us to. Thanksgiving can take us to where certain things or certain principles cannot take us to. Thanksgiving will take us there, and then of course it will keep us there and sustain us at that particular point. So you can't get out of any situation, or you can get out of any situation with thanksgiving. You see, Paul and Silas were in jail and then bound and locked up and everything, but when there was an application of praise, an application of thanks, they were set loose. So we might still be in a particular point or a particular situation or circumstance when we don't give thanks. So when we give thanks, there is we can get out of any situation. There's no situation that is too big that Thanksgiving cannot take us out of it. There's no situation that is too gigantic that Thanksgiving cannot break us out of. There's no situation, there's no prison that is too much secured that Thanksgiving cannot break us out of it. So how do we position ourselves to be thankful? Because of course there are certain things that we have to put in place, or that we have to remind ourselves of, for us to be a people that are grateful, a people of gratitude, and a people of thanksgiving. So how do we position ourselves to be thankful? Then first thing to do is we have to be thoughtful. If we're not thoughtful, we cannot be thankful. If we are thankful, we'll be thoughtful. So only thoughtful people are thankful. Only people that can think back would be thankful. So every deep thinker is a deep tanker, even if there's no word like that. But if you're a deep thinker, you'll be deep with thanksgiving and gratitude. If you can remember, you will give thanks. If you can think back and say, oh, this is not where I used to be, even if it is not where I want to be, but there is a measure of increase. God has lifted me, God has elevated me from this point to the other point. And then if you can think, basically you can thank. So one thing that we have to put in place for us to, or one thing that we have to do to position ourselves to be thankful, is for us to be thoughtful. So if you have not forgotten the many wonders of God in your life, the many wonders of God in your family, the many wonders of God in your industry, you will definitely be thankful. So if you can remember where you used to be, you will definitely see reasons to be thankful. So one way for us to position ourselves to enjoy, or for us to position ourselves to be thankful people, is to be thoughtful. One thing also that we need to put in place, or we need to position us to be thankful, is humility. Ingratitude is a byproduct of pride. Ingratitude is a byproduct of pride. People that are proud cannot be thankful. A man that is full of pride, or a man that is full of someone that is full of pride cannot be thankful. Someone that is full of pride cannot be grateful. So people that are full of pride are ungrateful people. So to be proud is to shut your heart from thanksgiving. There's no way that you have pride filled up in your heart, and then there's no way you can be thankful. So anybody that's forced to position ourselves to be thankful, we have to be humble. We have to avoid pride. We have to avoid being proud, for us to be able to give thanks to God. So only people who are humble will give God thanks. Only people who are humble will give God thanks. Only people who are humble will see reasons to be thankful. So pride closes our eyes, closes our senses, closes everything from being thankful, closes us, basically restrains us from thanksgiving. So a man that is humble is a man that would be thankful. A man that is humble is a man that is thankful and then would be thankful. So humble people are not ready to drag God's glory in over any matter or over any situation. But a man that is full of pride, a man that is proud, would only acknowledge that it is only me, it is my effort, it is what I did, it is that because I worked hard, that's why I'm seeing, that's why I have the blessings and all of that. But someone that is humble will see that there is nothing he's getting out of life, there's nothing that he's seeing out of life, there's nothing he's enjoying that is not from God, and then of course he will definitely thank God for it. So humility would create the right atmosphere for thanksgiving. Humility in our hearts, when our hearts are filled with humility, would create the atmosphere for thanksgiving. So the spirit of humility cheers the spirit of thanksgiving. The spirit of humility ignites the spirit of thanksgiving. The spirit of humility pushes us to thanksgiving. So if we're humble, we'll definitely be thankful. If we're humble, we'll definitely be thankful. And then pride is one thing that we have to avoid with everything that we have, with all the strengths we have, to avoid a life of ingratitude. So one thing also that we have to put in place to position us for a life of thanksgiving is to avoid complaining and murmuring. Avoiding complaining and murmuring. Numbers 11 verse 1 to 2, the Good News Translation says, the people began to complain to the Lord about their troubles. When the Lord heard them, he became angry and sent fire on the people. It burned among them and destroyed one end of the camp. The people cried out to Moses for help. He prayed to the Lord and the fire died down. So immediately the people, what made God angry was because they were complaining. And then of course he sent down fire. So instead of experiencing the goodness of God, we experience the wrath of God when we murmur or complain. Instead of experiencing and enjoying, instead of experiencing the goodness of God, we're now positioned for not experiencing the goodness of God when we complain and when we murmur. So complaining and murmuring hinders the blessings of God. Complaining and murmuring hinders the blessings of God. Just like the Israelites, when we complain, we cause God to anger. We push him to anger. Imagine, put yourself in a position where maybe for people that have kids, and then all of the sacrifices and all of that, and then the children are not grateful for all of that. Let's not jump into that. But if we're unthankful or ungrateful, we hinder the blessings of God, even to our daily in our daily lives, or basically when you have relationship with people, when you do things for them and then they are not grateful, there's every possibility that you might not do anything for that person again. When you notice any sign of ingratitude, there's no way ingratitude, complaining and all of that cannot fuel thanksgiving. Complaining and murmuring and thanksgiving are like opposite sides. You can't thank God when you're complaining, and murmuring would definitely hinder the blessing. So when we complain, we can't enjoy the blessings of God. We can't access anything we complain about. If you're complaining about this particular thing, there's no way you would enjoy the blessings that thing carries. So when we complain or murmur about a particular thing, we can't access that thing. So we can't access anything we complain about. So complaining will keep us on a spot, whereas thanksgiving will take us to another level. Complaining will just hold us down on a particular spot, and then thanksgiving will take us to another level. Thanksgiving pushes us into another level, and then complaining hold us bound. It's like a chain. When we start complaining and murmuring, it just holds us on that particular spot. But thanksgiving pushes us to the next level, pushes us to the next dimension, pushes us to experiencing the blessings of God like we've never experienced before. So complaining and murmuring keeps us on the spot, whereas thanksgiving pushes us to another level, or takes us to another level. You will never meet a complainer. You would always meet a complainer on the same spot, but a thanksgiver is never on the same spot. You will meet a complainer on the same spot, but a thanksgiver would always be on another spot. You will never see a thanksgiver in this spot and then come back the next time and still meet him on that or her at that particular spot. But the person that his heart is filled with complaining and all of that, you will definitely see them on that particular spot. Just think back and then just envision one or two people that you know that complains always or murmurs. They would always be on a particular spot. But a thanksgiver is always on another level. Philippians 2 verse 14 to 15, as I begin to round off, the Good News Translation says, do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may be innocent and pure as God's perfect children who live in a world of corrupt and sinful people. You must shine among them like stars lighting up the sky. So it means that when we complain, we cannot shine. It means that when we complain, we are, just like the scripture says, we are not pure. We are not innocent when we complain and murmur. Philippians 2:14 says, do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may be innocent and pure as God's perfect children. So it means that we are not as pure as God's perfect children. We don't replicate or look like anything that resembles God's children when we complain and when we murmur. So when we complain and murmur, we are basically looking like the opposite of who God is, and then of course it hinders the blessing. So we must by all means avoid every act of complaining and murmuring to enjoy God's blessings. We must by all means avoid murmuring, avoid complaining for us to enjoy the blessings of God. So if there's anything we should be known for, it should be that we are thanksgivers. If there's anything, if any title that is worth it, should be that this person or this group of people are thanksgivers. So thanksgiving shouldn't be done only at the end of the month or at the end of the year. It should be something that should be our daily life. It should be our consistent practice. It should be something that everything that we hold, everything that we represent should be thanksgiving. And then lastly, one of the things that we need for us to position ourselves to be thanksgivers is to exude the spirit of joy. We should have the spirit of joy. Joy is a joyful person is a thankful person. A depressed man or a sad man or a sad woman cannot be thankful. Someone that is sad, someone that is depressed, someone that is bitter cannot be thankful. So for us to enjoy the blessings, for us to be thanksgivers, we have to accommodate the spirit of joy. We have to have the spirit of joy. We have to go for the spirit of joy. When our spirit is filled with joy, we can be thankful. It is only when we are thankful it's only when we're joyful that we can be thankful. So joy is a very, very important matter for us to position ourselves for a life of thanksgiving, for a life of gratitude. It is very much important. So as I round up, one thing that we need, like I said, first for us to be able to position ourselves for thanksgiving is to be thoughtful. If you can think, you can thank. And then also joy, like I said. Also we need to avoid the spirit of complaining and murmuring. And then of course we need the spirit of humility for us to be thankful. It's been an amazing time here on Timeout with Ochoche Emmanuel. It's awesome. This is going to be saved here on Instagram. It's going to be on YouTube. Basically every platform that we can put this on, and then feel free to share this with your loved ones and then everyone that you care about and everyone that you want to be blessed. I'm sure you've been blessed like I have been. See you next year basically, and then saying happy new year, happy Christmas. See you 2025. Thank you to everyone that has been part of Timeout with Ochoche Emmanuel 2024. It's been an awesome time. Then thank you. This couldn't have been possible without you. Thank you all so much. God bless you, and then see you next year 2025.